Purple eye in the canyon. That's where I
Troubadour
long to be.
is 100% independent, of course. It's me, and it's my best friend since we were 4 years old. So I'm 39, almost 40, and he just turned 40. So we've known each other for 35 years. So, like, basically a brother my whole life. And it's like we look at it and like this just no longer makes sense,
Yeah.
And my business partner, his name is Cody Johnson, but it's not that Cody Johnson. It's amazing how many managers and agents are like, your business partner's Cody Johnson. It's like, yeah, but not that one.
I feel like there's a bunch of Cody Johnsons just in general.
Probably
like in the music industry.
pretty common name. But like he has a real job. Like his day is not music. Like he does stuff that makes money. But he looks at it as like, Chase, if I'm gonna commit $1 million to something at my day job, I know how much money I'm gonna make, or at least have a pretty good idea. These days with a festival, it's like, okay, we're gonna spend Brian, for example, back in March, we're going to spend $1.1 million on this event. A number I would have never comprehended being involved with in my life. And it's like, we have no idea how much money we're going to make or lose because we don't have any idea how many tickets we're going to sell. We don't know how much, beer we're going to sell. We don't know how much in sponsorships we're going to sell.
Yeah, you could
And
potentially just end up throwing like a super epic party.
We've
that costs you a
we've
lot of
thrown
money.
our fair share of free parties, man. Like we've thrown some that have worked out well, and we've thrown some that were beyond free.
Yeah.
And that's the point to where, after Brian, he was just like, man, we can't do this anymore. Like it's just, and that's not to say, never say never. I actually have a meeting, with Brian in a few weeks with the hopes that we can get something worked out. And we put ourselves in a situation that, takes the risk out of it, or at least takes the majority of it out.
Yeah, I mean, because you're still, that's what I'm saying. It's just so weird that it's considered, I don't even know if you want to call it like a failure, but you're still creating a lot of
Mm.
like revenue
Yeah.
for the city. You're bringing a lot of people in. So it's not as simple as just like,
Yeah.
Is there a part of that too that you can say like, okay, we're shutting down, we're not doing it, and then the city or the county or something's like, wait, hold on, maybe don't.
Yeah. As you can probably tell so far, I'm a pretty candid person.
Yeah.
I got nothing to hide. And we've had the conversation with both cities, is that, this is just not economically feasible for us anymore. And we did in Bryan-College Station, we did our first 3 festivals down there on campus at Texas A&M. Great time, great events, hot as hell every year, but didn't have anything to show for it profitability wise. Our best year down there was our first year we profited $17,000 by the end of it.
It's tough to pay everybody with that.
Yeah. Yeah. And even when there's only 2 of us, it's tough to pay $17,000 across 2 dudes who have another festival 5 months after that.
Yeah.
But so we moved it to Brian. Brian offered some great incentives to get us over there, and we had a really great location, and we moved it from the middle of May to the end of March, so cooler weather. We were doing it during school, whereas before we were the week after graduation at Texas A&M, and we sold 3 more tickets this year than we did last year.
Dang.
3. And it just makes no sense. And I thought the lineup was killer. Like I loved it.
Yeah.
I figured like, we're bringing Flatland to College Station with $40 student tickets, and we sold 1,100 student tickets. And it's like,
how big is the university?
77,000 students. Yeah.
It's like, even if you got, yeah, I don't know, man. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. It's just a weird market. It's so oversaturated. And, Bryan-College Station was kind of a market that wasn't getting quite as flooded as DFW or Austin or whatever. But, you've already got Chili Fest, which was 2 weeks after us. And then Live at the Station, has been down there a few years, and they're still going. 2 years ago, we had our festival all planned and booked, and our second act on stage was the Red Clay Strays, and then George Strait books a show at Kyle Field a month later, so, uh, yeah, it's just tough. Like it's, if you're not just, if you don't have the deepest of pockets or the ability to risk that kind of money, then, um, it's almost fucking impossible these
Well, it
days.
seems like even the biggest acts in the world it's like everybody's struggling to sell tickets. Like you see the blue dot thing. I would see that popping up, articles about it.
Yeah, I would say like if it's not like a prestigious residency or, just one of the super hot tours that's going on or just something that's like really niche, it struggled. It hasn't been as successful. So you're basically pointing at, you've got, your shit at the Sphere or, some of these big tours, you see Ella Langley, blowing out all her dates, which is awesome. And a bunch of these other ones. And then, you have your festivals that are going to sell out or do great no matter what, your stage coaches, your two-step ins, your, whatever. But there aren't that many independents in the midst of all that. And, she got kind of caught up in it. So whereas, 7, 8, 9 years ago, it used to just be go on sale, we're sold out, cool, we know how much money we're going to make, and we're done. Now it's just like never ending struggle. And, that leads into so many other problems. Social media, advertising, don't even get started on that.
In what way? What frustrates you about that?
Oh, it's all built on, algorithms now. And the only way you can have any sort of, engagement or following is to pay for it or just, having something go, super viral. Our very first festival in Celina in 2021, we spent $1,500 on Facebook ads and sold 7,500 tickets. We average over the last 3 or 4 shows, we've averaged spending about $50,000 on Facebook, Instagram ads, TikTok, shit like that. It's just
see, it's like
competing for eyeballs in an algorithm, and your organic posts or, I mean, even huge accounts. I talked to Matt Pittman, who owns Meat Church. Got almost 1 million followers on Instagram. Like, he's told me, yeah, his engagement's gone way down just organically. 'Cause that's just how the system works. And it's almost like if you're not paying for it, you're less relevant. Other than like 2, videos that went sort of viral on our Instagram. One was about ragweed. One was about Robin Earl Keen. Not really directly related to any festival that we were doing. Our most engaged post ever was our post about not doing our Celina festival this year. And it took everything that I had to like not put in the post. Like I have, like this is going to be our, our most popular engaged with post ever. And it's about us not existing this year. So it just makes no sense. I mean, more engagements and shares or whatever than any lineup drop we've ever had or any ticket drop or what, going on sale, way more than any of that.
Dude, that's just like people coming out and saying like, I'm not touring anymore. I'm going to rehab. It's like, that's the biggest engaged thing that people have.
Catch me at my worst.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. And I knew it was going to be like that whenever I posted it, put like the photo of the words up and just copied and pasted those same words and put them in the caption. And, I mean, my phone was just, fireworks after that. So, I mean, the irony is just.
That's got to be exhausting too. Like, it'd be like getting a divorce and then everybody calls you and says, well, why? Well, what do you need help with? What do you?
Yeah. And I've had 2 divorces. So I know exactly how that goes.
Man, so you've been through some stuff.
Hey man, I'm 39 years old. I've lived a couple of lifetimes. My friend Rashad's back there probably just laughing his ass off. Like,
what do you think about that, Rashad? He's not lying.
Yeah. You go back the last 25 years, man, that's a book. But it's crazy. It's just, the times where you need it the most, it just doesn't work. And, you finally say, all right, well, I'm tapping out, or at least for this year. I feel like if the time comes where we do Bryan next year, or we bring, we're able to do a show in 2027, I like to think that initial announcement might be somewhat engaged with, hopefully.
Yeah.
But like ultimately, like you're just, social media, you're just like, that dead horse just can't be beaten anymore, and it's the only avenue in which you can get any sort of engagement or measurement or really, track what your money is doing. You can't throw money at print media anymore. It's a waste. Radio is different. There's no way of tracking it. Worked in radio for 9-10 years. It's just
So did you start like as a buyer type or like a booking agent, or like what was even
how far
your
back are we going?
like I don't know, like did you go to college?
I did. Yeah, I was a sports writer in a previous life.
Okay.
So journalism major. Started working in newspapers when I was 14. Started throwing newspapers when I was 10.
You really like newspapers.
That was back. Kids these days don't have any idea what the fuck they are. But yeah, when I was 14, I went to the sports editor, or the editor of the weekly paper in my hometown, Bullard, Texas, and said, "I want to cover the New York Yankees for the New York Times. Can I write sports for your paper?"
Whoa.
And she said, "You can be the sports editor of the newspaper." I was 14. Did that all through high school. Then I started working at the daily paper in Tyler, Texas, when I was 17. Worked in papers till I was about 25. And then something called the internet kind of killed print journalism. So like I had gone to college, did that thing. I moved to Oklahoma City a week after graduated college, worked at the Oklahoma newspaper for about a year and a half. Hated Oklahoma, came back home in the midst of the housing crash and the recession and all that. And worked in newspapers, same newspaper in Tyler for a few more years, and that road was ending. So I got a job at Town Square Media, which is the third largest radio company in America, based in Tyler, 4 radio stations. Familiar with Buddy Logan at Radio Texas Live, syndicated Texas country guy, really, really great. He's actually out of the business now too. But I worked there for 9 years, and I was hired to do digital content, social media for 4 radio stations. And I kind of had this idea. Not long after I started, I was a big barbecue fan. My general manager was a big barbecue fan. We ate at Stanley's famous pit barbecue in Tyler all the time. And I'd been going to Texas Monthly's barbecue festival in Austin a few years, and I went to him one day and just kind of I got the idea watching Uncle Lucius at Stanley's on a Saturday one time. And I was like, let's take this barbecue festival concept, and like we have a country radio station and a great Texas country radio show and personality and Buddy. I said, so let's just stick a Texas country show on the end of it. Went to my general manager, threw the idea at him. I had only been working there like 6 months, 8 months. And he's like, dude, that's a great fucking idea. So we called the suits up in New York, throw this idea at them. They're like, no. I'm like, okay.
Why?
They just didn't want to risk it. Didn't want to, put that much money up, I guess. They had already, kind of, committed some other projects that I had started in Tyler at the radio station, which was cool. But what they didn't really realize is that I'm pretty persistent, probably to the point of annoyance sometimes. So I kept asking and asked again and again. And some of the executives came to Tyler one time on a visit, and we're at dinner one night at this restaurant in Tyler. And I'm just like waiting for my turn to talk, and I'm 25 years old at this point, and 26, I don't know. And one of them asked me, he's like, so Chase, what's on your mind? And I kind of smiled, and they're like, we already know. And the answer is still no. And I said, this is a great opportunity. I finally got one of them to say like, all right, just put a P&L together. Let me see it, and we'll go from there. So I put a P&L together for the Red Dirt Barbecue Music Festival in Tyler. So like middle of summer 2013, they finally said yes. Had no idea what the fuck I was doing. We had a live events manager in the market. So live events were an important part of Town Square's, company then. So we're like, great, we're gonna do this event. How do we do it? I have no idea. I do content for a living. I was like, I know how to promote it on social media and write about it and all this other stuff. And
Well, dang, that was pretty early on the social media thing.
Yeah, 2013, and
Way early.
yeah. So we were, that was back when you would post something on your page and everybody would see it. It was amazing. Yeah, truly incredible. You actually like saw content from pages that you chose to follow.
Dude, isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
It's like the whole thing now is just not like who you, what's the, I don't
It's
get
like
it.
someone you don't follow, add, someone you don't follow, add, you know,
Yeah.
whatever. And so we start like throwing around like headliner ideas, and I could go to like a whole other story as like, a few years before this, I did not like country music. This was kind of a recent phenomenon for me.
What were you like?
Rock and roll, baby.
Yeah,
I got
okay.
Pearl Jam on both arms.
Oh, you're a grunger.
Oh yeah, man.
Okay.
My big brother was 7 years older than me. I was born in 86. He was born in 79. So like I came up, with my dad. My dad and my brother were big country fans. My dad and my mom were, of course, like big classic country fans, Waylon Willie, that whole group. But I was like rock and roll, My brother showed me Pearl Jam and Nirvana and Soundgarden. And,
yeah, buddy.
Yeah. Right with my dad would be a lot of Zeppelin, the Who, stuff like that.
Did you get the Alice in Chains thing? Did you like that or not?
Oh, Dexter and the Moon Rocks guy?
No. Like Alice in Chains. Like, do you dig, do you like
dig Alice in Chains.
Oh, okay,
yeah. One of my funnest like live concert experiences was seeing Aaron Lewis cover Rooster.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was really, really cool.
Oh, I bet they had to do that quite a bit lower.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When was that when you saw him do that?
Man, that was at basically a pasture party in East Texas in like 2000, and I was with the radio station like 2012, 2013. Aaron Lewis headlined. Direct support was Jason Boland and the Stragglers, and around 3:30, 4 o'clock was a guy named Cody Johnson. Yeah. But yeah, hated country music. Didn't like it.
Well, probably the country music that was current for that time.
I didn't like any of it.
Well, no, but you just said you liked old school stuff.
No, like my dad liked it. My brother liked it. Like kind of, and grew up with it. You're from East Texas. Your whole family likes country music. I didn't like any of it, or I thought I didn't. I should say.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
I was the same way. You grow up around it.
Yeah,
and
I grew up being a rebel. Like I grew up a Yankees fan and Texas Rangers country. And
hey, this is why we get along.
Yeah,
dude.
see, exactly.
Yeah.
Now I can just say my wife's from New York. Not that I've been a Yankees fan since I was 6.
And then we get older, and then we get humbled enough, and then we realize we're just morons. That's why we did.
I'm still a Yankees fan, but I don't like Yankees fans, if that makes any sense.
Well, I'm an idiot.
Yeah. So, didn't like it. Like I remember like being in high school, and my brother would like be like, "Man, you need to listen to some of these guys." And where Red Dirt started is in downtown Tyler, like around the square, and that's actually where I live to this day.
You mean like the festival?
Yeah, like Red Dirt took place in downtown Tyler, but I live in downtown Tyler now. I have for a lot of the last.
I was going to say that'd be like a Red Dirt country started in downtown Tyler.
It did.
Like country music?
Oh,
like Red Dirt, like the genre.
The festival did.
Like the genre.
That'd be cool.
Say that one. That clip will
Tyler
rip.
has its moments, but it's not that cool.
Say it. Look dead into the camera and say Red Dirt country music started in downtown Tyler, Texas.
I feel like you're going to blackmail me with that.
Yeah, you're going to get hate, man.
I get enough as it is. My brother would come home and be like, "Man, you need to listen to some of these guys. I'm watching. There's a bar restaurant downtown called Rick's on the Square, and Rick, the guy who owned it, actually just sold it. But then he would have Texas Country Thursdays, so he'd pay these guys, probably like $500 in a bar tab, Randy Rogers and Stoney LaRue and Wade Bowen. And my brother would come home and be like, "You got to listen to these guys." I was like, "No, I don't like it." He loved like Max Stalling and Jason Boland was his favorite, and I was like, "Man, I don't dig it." And then started falling in love with barbecue as years went on and got a little older, and I saw Uncle Lucius at Stanley's, like I mentioned earlier, and I really dug their sound. They weren't like country, but they were funky and kind of had a little country vibe to them, but wrote really cool songs. Fell in love with the song Liquor Store. And when I started the radio station, and Buddy Logan had the Texas Country Show, ended up being syndicated nationally and stuff, and we would talk about it, and I was like, "Man," I said, "I don't really get down with a lot of it," but I said, "I love Uncle Lucius." He goes, "Oh, well, if you love Uncle Lucius, there's some other ones," and kind of going from there. And that's kind of how I started liking country music. And then, fast forward to that 2013 when I got, the go ahead to do the festival, and, I'm telling my brother this, and he's like, where's all this coming from? You hated this music. I was like, "Man, I'm kind of coming around on it." By this point in Tyler, I had seen Turnpike and Cody Johnson and, love JB and the Moonshine Band. There's some Tyler boys,
Yeah.
Wish they'd come back. JB, please. Just going through all that. And he's like, well, who are you going to get to headline the festival? And that was at the time was kind of the wake up call about like how much it cost, cause like we made a budget. And then we were like, well, let's see how much Randy Rogers Band is. And Randy Rogers Band was all of the budget that we
Hot, dude. Yeah.
They were all the budget. And we're like, oh shit, what do we do? And it was like, okay, well, I'm like, well,
this is our festival. This is Randy Rogers Band.
Luckily, like my general manager at the time was a lot like me, very much ask for forgiveness, not permission kind of guys. And he's like, we'll make up for it. So we booked Randy Rogers Band. And there was a local band I really liked called the Bigsby's from Palestine, Texas. And I was like, man, so you guys just play? They're like, sure, we'll play for free. Second band was Green River Ordnance. I don't know if you remember those guys, Fort Worth guys.
Yeah.
Great.
They were amazing.
Yeah. Super, super talented.
That's just another example of like, it's just, there's a lot of people that same way with like a festival are doing great things that are awesome.
Yeah.
And then they just don't
It just
work
doesn't
for
click.
It's like,
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
Well, it's like, Uncle Lucius is one of my all-time favorite bands, and it never like hit for them until they broke up. When Keep the Wolves Away went viral on TikTok, never mind these guys were putting out some of the best records in Texas, for years before that. But so you get that, and like, well, who do we put in direct support in front of Randy? Like, well, we're in East Texas, so let's get Whiskey Myers. So very first year, we had Randy Rogers Band and Whiskey Myers, Green River, and then the Bigsby's, 4 bands. I was really big into barbecue, and I was real good friends, or still am good friends with the owner at Stanley's and Tyler. And I ran the idea by him. He's like, yeah, man, like that sounds great. Let's do it. I said, cool. I need some phone numbers so I can start calling all these other barbecue restaurants. Got 15 to commit that first year. 14 showed up. So that was a win. Go out there. I didn't sleep for 42 hours, had no idea what we were doing, setting this bitch up. And, but it sold out, our first year. We're like, we'll sell 4,000 tickets, and, we'll go there. And, it cost $169,000 to produce that festival that year. And that's with talent, fencing, everything. Probably a tenth number of bathrooms as we needed.
That barely covers production now.
Yeah, exactly. That barely covers, some artists,
Oh, for sure.
And it was, we got done, and I was like, holy shit, I think we've got something here. We made a profit. Our goal was to break even and keep doing it. And, at that point, Tyler's not exactly a beacon for live events. Still isn't, but Red Dirt still happens. But it was like, okay, we've got something cool. And Red Dirt kind of became part of Tyler from then on out, and sold out. I sold out 6 more after that. The last 3 we sold out in less than 3 hours. VIP tickets, we sold 500 every year. I think the last couple of years they lasted 20, 30 seconds. Yeah, I mean, like I said, we announced the lineup. We'd go on sale about a week later on a Friday, go on sale at 10 a.m. We'd be sold out by 1, be at the bar by 1:05.
Why'd you get out of that deal?
COVID. Yeah.
COVID.
Yeah, COVID happened. I had booked the 2020 festival. Parker McCollum, Josh Abbott, Jason Boland, Charlie Crockett was playing second. My cousin Chris was opening.
Good grief.
I had gotten to FaceTime my cousin, dream of his to play Red Dirt. Like he met his wife at the second Red Dirt in 2015. FaceTimed him, and said, hey, because I'd actually booked him with Andrew McWilliams with Evergreen Artist Group now. He used to be at Red 11. So we kind of worked all that out, and, COVID came along. It was a Sunday. I was at a bar restaurant in Lindell, Texas, watching Josh Weathers, one of the best to ever do it, and get a text from an agent at WME and said, hey, CDC just fucked
the world
everybody.
is shutting down.
Yeah, we've got to figure this out if you've got time. So I spent the rest of the afternoon on the patio at this place in Lindell trying to get dates together. And we pushed it to a Sunday in October. And, our festival was the first weekend of May.
Okay.
Like, we'll do it in October, hopefully. 2 weeks later, boss calls me and she says, "Hey, nobody's doing anything, live events, especially not. So we're going to furlough you um, until you can come back to work." And at the time, they were doing that extra $600 a week or whatever on regular unemployment. So like, it wasn't bad. It was fine. Like, I wasn't going to starve. So I was like, okay, well, I got a little bit of vacation, I guess, and never went back to work. Like, August, September came around and we knew it was going to postpone again. So they weren't bringing me back to work. And then, so pushed it to the next year, got some refunds on tickets, put tickets on sale again in February for May 2021. Didn't sold those out. It was only a few hundred. Everybody kept their tickets. And about a month goes by and I finally reach out to my boss and say, "Hey, I'm broke."
Yeah.
And I was like, I have to come back to work. I was like, that extra unemployment ended months ago. I'm paying rent on my credit card. Um, I gotta,
Damn, dude.
yeah. I was like, I gotta come back to
So,
work.
but you would have been in a position where you didn't have access to like a lot of the loans and stuff. The
No, I mean, I worked
PPP.
for a company. Like, Red Dirt was my
Right.
creation, but it was in no aspect wasn't mine.
Right.
It was owned by Town Tour Media. So I mean, it was just
The
regular
old
unemployment.
daddy government came in to save you, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shut you down.
yeah, and yeah, and they said, "Okay, well, we're not going to bring you back." And I was like, "You can't take this festival from me." Like, I mean, that was me. That was my identity at that point. And they're like, "We can't bring you back. Like, there's we don't know if the event's going to happen in May," and which of course it did, but it was just, but at that point it started getting pretty testy. And, ultimately I just knew that, it was just going to be the end of the road.
Wow.
And it ended, and they, Red Dirt still exists. And I was still under a non-compete, which they were still enforcing.
Well, that doesn't.
Hey, at this point, I stopped being bitter about it, but because it
Yeah.
led to
It just drive you
Celina.
crazy.
Yeah, it didn't make much sense, and ultimately,
Well, look, if there's one person you definitely should take legal advice from on that type of stuff, I think it's probably like the podcaster musician guy.
absolutely,
Drinking a glass of whiskey.
Yeah,
I'm
for
definitely
sure.
that guy.
Yeah, I mean, send me an invoice, and
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but
I do bill hourly for this.
it's probably going to go unpaid at this point, just so you know, just the way things are going. Yeah, but it, yeah, I mean, it was over. I mean, I tried to like get them to work with me on a contract basis, just to manage, the artists and the barbecue restaurants, and they could handle everything else. And it was like, nah, this is it. Like, it's over. And it was tough. It was a tough pill to swallow. Like, everything.
Were you married at the time?
Which time?
That time. At that time.
No, I was dating my now wife.
Kids though, previous marriages?
No, never kids.
Oh,
So,
you don't have any kids?
No kids. No, just dogs. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I had proposed to my second wife on stage at Red Dirt, and that didn't last very long, but
Well,
that's a whole other story there.
yeah.
But
It was going to be my follow-up question.
oh yeah, thanks, man.
How did that end?
In divorce.
I'm just kidding.
No, I was dating my wife now. She actually worked for the same company. She'd actually got let go about a month before I did.
Whoa.
She had lived in Florida. She's from New York. About 3 months after I got let go, fired, whatever the fuck you want to call it, she moved to Texas, and all that. It's just a whole whirlwind. March 2021. Yeah, got let go. Formally, my grandfather died a couple of weeks later, who was my hero. And just like, man, it was just a big pile on everything. But throughout this whole process, I've been talking to my best friend, business partner, we'll just kind of start throwing around the idea of like, hey, what if we did this on our own? And one night we were talking, and it was still kind of COVID, so we weren't really like around each other, but drinking, talking on the phone, and might have had too many that night, and they finally said, fuck it, let's do it, let's give it a shot. So we started our company in May of 2021, did our first festival in November 2021, sold out, made more money than we'd ever made on a Red Dirt show. Just absolutely crushed it. I was like, oh man, this is great. This is easy.
Well, okay, hold on. When you say on a Red Dirt show,
like Red Dirt, like my original festival. Yeah.
Oh.
So like our first Troubadour Festival, like we made more money than any profit margin I'd
Gotcha.
ever made on a
Gotcha.
Red Dirt show, which was impressive.
God, that had to feel great.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was like I hadn't worked in 2.5 years and came back and
Hit a lick.
yeah, man. And you look back on it, it's like, man, everybody just wanted to get out of the house. They didn't care who was going to be on the stage. But I mean, we had a great lineup. Like Pat Green and Josh Abbott co-headline. We had Stoney, Kyle Nix and the 38s open the show. We had Cody Canada. Because Kyle Nix was doing his thing. When Turnpike was split up, but it was like we sold our 75th 100 ticket the night before the festival, the day before the festival. We sold it out. We sold it out at 7,500, which was more tickets than I had sold on any show in my career. Even a festival we did for Coetzel one time in East Texas. And like, I remember like we're in our kind of private suite area we had for our big sponsor, and Pat Green's playing, and like we sprayed champagne all over each other, and like my wife looked at me and she's like, man, you're back. Like, this is it. Like, man, this is.
That's what she said?
Yeah. She said, you're back.
What
like,
a cool thing to say.
Yeah. And I mean, I met her working music festival. She just worked on the money side. So she's a smart one. She's like, you're back. Like, this is, I haven't seen your heart like this in a long time. It's like, man, this is awesome. Talk to my friend and business partners, like, man, we've got something here. Let's do 3 Troubadour festivals in 2022. What a huge fucking mistake that was. So yeah, we did it in Georgetown, we did it in Tyler, and then back in Celina. And only one of those 3 panned out. But
Georgetown?
No,
Tyler.
Celina again.
So, that's right,
yeah,
Celina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tyler
So what do you take away from that? So it's like you had the big W, and then you say, all right, well then let's expand.
Yeah, it was just like, let's scale it. Like we came out of Celina that year, profiting a lot of money. Like, okay, we've got something that has value that people want to go to, and events are back, and we can really make this a unique, Texas thing. The idea behind calling it Troubadour Festival is like, troubadours, the old, traveling poets and songwriters in Western Europe, hundreds of years ago. So we wanted to be the traveling barbecue festival. And she spent.
You see her getting pissy. Did you hear her? The corgi.
Oh yeah. So it's like, well, let's just replicate this in different markets. And we were putting out good lineups. We did more barbecue restaurants than we ever did in Tyler. We had about 40 restaurants a show. All the restaurants want to be a part of it, and then it just didn't. We just wanted to expand too fast, too quick, and that was my fault. But Celina was still successful, and then pretty much after that 2022 year, we moved Georgetown over to College Station. After I heard about a little event called Two Step In coming into Georgetown, I wasn't really aware of it when we first agreed to do Troubadour there, but that's all well and good. Two Step's a great event, and College Station was a cool opportunity, but really at that point on, it became a battle, just trying to make it work with inflation, with rising costs for everything from production and labor. Labor's really, really big. Artist costs got higher considerably.
You think they're going to come down?
I don't know, man. I think it's just going to be however long that
because like what
the big dogs can keep up with that. I mean, I think it'll correct itself to an extent.
There's even people like in that middle ground that like what I hear that they charge, and they don't sell that many tickets, and I hear what they charge, and I'm just like,
yeah,
what?
Because I think these agents know that somebody out there will pay it, or they just throw out a number and just think like, are they going to come back with something even close, and we'll take it, and maybe I look back and it's like, well, maybe I could have been a bigger dick about negotiating, or like really pushed for something lower.
Yeah, but you probably think there's some goodwill there that.
Well, there has to be, and it's such the community aspect of it. It's good and it's not. Like, we always help each other out, and we always want everybody to succeed. I will never disparage an artist or a band for making money and,
Sure.
Doing that. Like, absolutely not. But what I've seen over the last 10 years, 12 years is completely night and day. You know, I booked Red Dirt for 7 years in Tyler. We never paid a headliner more than $45,000.
Yeah.
Our last festival, you know, we paid more than that for more than one, you know. The least amount of money I've ever paid a headliner was Cody Johnson in 2017. And it's crazy to think about now.
The least amount of money
yeah,
you've ever paid.
to this day, the least I've ever paid a headliner was Cody Johnson in 2017. But it's gotten to a point where, like I said, it just doesn't make sense for us and what we can handle financially and what's going to sell enough tickets. You know, you can go book a great artist for, you know, on a festival for $150,000, maybe a little bit less or more. But that kind of money is not going to get you the number of tickets that $100,000 got you 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago.
Mm.
Like when I did Red Dirt and Tyler, there was no way we'd have ever thought about paying an artist $100,000. Like our entire lineup budget wasn't $100,000.
How many industry people, agents, managers, when you announced that you weren't going to do the next festival, like how many people like reached out to you? Just
one. I think one.
Yeah.
And she photographed my wedding. So my like last real wedding, my third one, the one that matters.
Well, the last one's always
exactly.
The newest one's always the one that matters.
Jody Cockrell at Evergreen, you know, she works with Hudson Westbrook and, you know, Tice Delk and others. Like I've known Jody a long time and from her photography days, and she photographed our wedding in New York. And, you know, she's just a great friend and resource. And she knew it was coming. And when I posted it, you know, she reached out. Beyond that, I don't think so. I don't think anybody. Yeah.
And you spent a lot of money with those people.
Yeah, but I mean, I honestly haven't even thought about, you know, them not reaching out until now. You know, I mean, it's just
I just think it sort of exemplifies the elements of the industry, in my opinion. But
you know, to me, you know, for some of them, it might be like, okay, moving on to the next thing that's going to fill these dates and make this money. You know, whether
have you know? I'm sure there's times in your life where, like, when you know shit's going crazy and things are going great, there's people that enter your life that are your friends, you know, and then like when things take a turn, some of those people disappear. Have you experienced a lot of that?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I started and, you know, produced the biggest event in East Texas for 7 years, and
everybody's your friend.
Everybody, you know, and, you know, when that was over, I mean, the response and, you know, the support I got after that was incredible. You know, it's just, but over time, you know, it no longer kind of became relevant. I mean, I wasn't working. I had a non-compete. You know, our 2022 festival we did in Tyler was, you know, a mistake in the sense that it was a financial mistake. A lot of it was driven out of spite and wanting to be able to, you know, do Tyler on my terms and do my own event there that we owned and wasn't corporate or whatever. I don't regret it. You know, it didn't make any money. In fact, it lost quite a bit, but I look back and think like, well, we did this better. You know, it looked great. Everything went well, you know, just didn't sell the tickets. But, you know, with that said, like it's, you know, with these agents and stuff, I mean, I don't know. It's different relationships or whatever, you know, they hear from me a couple of times a year because I only do 2 events a year. You know, I'm not a buyer that, you know, is booking a ton of dates at once or, you know, is, you know, booking some of these massive festivals that they really want to get in on. But, yeah, I never really thought about that till now. Dicks. No,
yeah, I'm glad I could really. So then what's the plan now?
Man, are you hiring? I could really use a job. Yeah. Could like sweep some floors or something. Man, it's just about finding stability right now. You know, my best friend and, you know, business partner has been super supportive. you know, the last several years where this has been my only gig and I've done that full time, you know, now it's like if we do it in the future, it's just going to be like a side gig, you know, where we feel like, okay, this is, you know, we can get to a place where we can afford to do this again and hopefully make a little bit of money and not risk as much. Um, but it just doesn't need to be like a primary source of of paying the bills anymore, you know. So
Yeah, it's got to be just incredibly stressful.
yeah, so just finding a spot in the industry, hopefully. If not, it is, you know, just finding a job that, you know, like I said, pays the bills for now and then hopefully get into it. You know, eventually, you know, my passion is this industry, but we have to see, you know, those jobs are few and far between. A lot of them are who you know.
I find it interesting that for the amount of people that you know, I would, but like being like a booking agent is not something that ever like interested you.
Not really, you know, just more, it just seems like so much on like the sales side of it, you know, and
Yeah.
you're finding this talent and now it's like, okay, I'm going to scroll through whoever is the latest, you know, viral sensation on TikTok and
Mhm.
pray they hit. But uh I mean, I say I've never thought about it, but
Mhm.
you know, you basically got to get one of those artists who hits and who trusts you and you can get them shows or whatever, and then you have something to take to a bigger agency and say, "Hey, I've got so and so, you know, hire me, and you know, we'll get them on your books, and you know, try
Yeah.
to get other people." But you know, it's a hard part to break into.
So what I will say is
Why
there's
do you need a booking agent?
a
Is that what you're
actually I don't. It's like it's like one of the
saying?
yeah, normally uh for I guess there's been at least like one or two festivals that have ceased to operate and exist, but they ceased operations under what I think is kind of pretty sketchy terms, you know,
Mhm.
and still owe people a lot of money. Uh, and so I got to give you a lot of credit for like doing it the right way and just like being transparent about it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, one thing, you know, going into this, um, and just knowing myself, and also knowing, you know, a guy I've known my entire life, you know, he's basically my brother, is that, you know, knowing that we're going to do things the right way, you know, we pay our bills and, you know, we know that the artists are going to get paid, you know, at the show. We know that vendors are going to get paid, um, you know, all that. Like we
That's a
hold,
big deal, dude.
yeah, we hold ourselves accountable
Yeah.
you know, you
Cause
get,
that's not, hasn't always been the case
no.
for,
And
yeah.
there have been events where, you know, that didn't operate that way. And ultimately those events hurt us badly, just on the sense that they may have booked a lot of artists that we would have really liked to book
No kidding.
one of those
And then
years.
they still didn't get really paid.
Yeah, and they still didn't get really paid, and we might have, you know, lost our ass that year after making a lot of money the first 2 years. You know, no idea what I'm talking about, but some people might pick up on it. Yeah, and don't wish ill will upon any of those people or any of those situations, but uh, yeah, that was
To me, it just says more about you. Says whatever, they are them, but to me, it's like impressive that you know.
well, that was like, honestly, that was the first like real hard like challenge to face, you know, doing festivals. And I was very blessed to say that it took 8, 9 years before that happened because I was very spoiled in Tyler. We started Troubadour, like our first two festivals in Celina went really well. Um, we didn't sell out in 2022, but we still made good money. That was the first show I never sold out in my career. Um, but we still made good money. And then going to 2023, um, you know, trying to book headliners, Ray headliner, and was just running into the same roadblock over and over again. And it was, oh, well, they're already booked to play another festival not far from you. And at this point, if people are watching and they can't figure out which one it is, then, you know, that's okay. Uh, you know, it was a multi-day festival that had tons of artists, and anybody that we wanted to book was playing that one because
Big
the
money.
guarantees were huge.
Crazy.
And uh, I had never been turned down on a headliner offer up to that year, ever. Um, I mean, I could name them all in order. Still remember exactly how much I paid them, and who it was, and they were the first offer every time. The first two Troubadours we did, the first year we had Pat Green and Josh Abbott co-headline. The second year we had Randy. First offers accepted both times, And so 2023 comes along, and honestly don't remember who the first ones were that we tried to book, but it just wasn't happening, and they were getting booked by another event. And I offered, 4 or 5 other ones, and it just wasn't hitting. And we get to a point where we're like, well, who the hell are we going to book to play our festival? And um, ultimately, like, our choices were so few at that point, because 50 of them were playing another event. Um, and it was like, well, Chris Young's available. And I will preface the rest of what I'm saying is that I love Chris. Chris is a great dude, and like put on a great show that night. Um, but like the amount of money that we had to spend to get him, and just what the response was on a festival that was centered around Texas, red dirt, Americana, whatever kind of music, this scene that we know, Chris just wasn't it. It wasn't that kind of fit. And our attendance reflected as such, and our balance sheet reflected as such. It was a fun year. Dak Prescott showed up, took a shot with Chris on the stage. We took some tequila shots with Dak Prescott in the back. He was super great, and we had a great time, but like it just didn't, like, what we just had to pay for an artist to get that done. And you're at the height of inflation at that
Yeah,
point.
but that's
Yeah.
because something down the road promised to pay a bunch of people a bunch of money
And it didn't happen.
and didn't do it.
Yeah, and even going into the next year, because it was coming back, um, and I had offered an artist, a band, to play, in Celina in 2024 on a co-headlining thing. The other one had already accepted, and their agent was like, "Yeah, but they've got another offer over here." Because I kept raising my offer, like it came in, lower, and he's like, "Well, this other event's in on it too, so I raised the offer and ultimately raised it again." Basically, I think almost doubled it by the time it got said and
Gosh.
done. And he was like, "Well, it's down to, they just got to decide if they want to do your show or theirs, because y'all are basically offering the same money." And I finally said, "Do they want to get paid?" He's like,
Yeah,
"Well,
like,
of
what are we
course." I said,
doing?
"Well, that we're going to pay them. I don't know what's going on over there, but
Yeah.
like, we had already booked this band on a festival before, when they were, they opened a show for us, and I was like, let's get this done." And they did, and we had a great show, and it was awesome. Um, yeah, then that other event never came back. Um, so if this is how it ends for us, at least we ended it the way we wanted it to, or at least like ended on our terms. And I can sleep easy knowing like we didn't fuck anybody over.
Totally. You didn't have to.
Yeah,
Yep.
we paid everybody. You know, we have to wait on invoices sometimes at this point,
Yeah.
but as far as artists and people that we work with, on a consistent basis.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
interesting that there's like I don't know if you know the LJT crew much, but
A little bit.
they it's interesting how long they've existed
Yeah.
and just kind of just done their thing. And there's been a lot of stuff that pops up, and then because like I know them real well. Larry Joe was my first manager, and
Oh, nice.
it's just interesting to hear their take on some of. They just don't really get. They just kind of do their thing,
Yeah.
and like
And I wish like, I wish that Troubadour, could have become that event that, you call like, "Hey dude, you want to play Troubadour?" And they're like, "Yeah, man." Like, "Fuck yeah, I want to play LJT. I want to play Mile Zero. I want to play, Music Fest and all these others." Like, and we've had artists like, "Yeah, I mean, I've wanted to play this for a long time." Um,
yeah, but they like
but being something that long standing and tradition and, uh, whatever, is something that, we were definitely striving for,
yeah.
and being in that. Yeah. It's rare to
But it all
find.
comes back around, and life is long. And what I do know is just treating people right and like keeping your word. And
Yeah.
even though like today and right now it might cost you money, it might cost you whatever. It's like I do believe that there's people that take notice that maybe most people that are paying attention to you and what you're doing, uh, a lot of times you don't realize it. you know, and then it like ends up coming back around and they're like, yeah, well, you did this thing and I saw you do it and I appreciated that. And you're like, oh, damn, I didn't even know anybody.
Yeah. One of the things that like I was always really proud of, and it was like, oh, they actually noticed. After our 2022 show in Celina, we had Randy and Wade on that show, and uh, Randy and Wade played my last Red Dirt that I attended or produced, I guess, from front to back in 2019. So big fans of both, and yeah, we did that show, and then a couple weeks later, I hear from Wade's management, and they said, "Hey, Wade really had a great time at Troubadour. He has something he wants to talk to you about." And I'm not going to get into all that, but it was kind of some ideas that he was thinking about, and we've had a great relationship since. Like he's become a good friend, and you know, just kind of one of his first things he said on the phone was like, "Man, I just was really impressed by the event and how well things were run, and y'all treated everybody great, and all of that." And you know, it's just like,
That feels
yeah,
good.
yeah. And I've had conversations with agents or whatever, and you know, we'll be, you know, fighting about money or whatever. And they're like, well, we don't want these guys to come out there and, you know, there'd be bologna sandwiches and catering. And I'm like, we're a barbecue festival, bro.
Yeah.
Like nobody's going to beat us on the catering front. You had us a couple of months ago in Bryan, like Rossler's Blue Cord Barbecue in Harker Heights, Texas, you know, just crushed it.
Y'all's I went to the one in Bryan and the catering was awesome.
Yeah. Like
I didn't even play, you know?
Yeah.
You had a guitar cake.
Yeah, the cake we made for Flatland. Man, that was, I'll take credit for that idea. That's kind of cool. But like, you know, had a long relationship with those guys. Like those guys opened Red Dirt for us in 2017. You know, the first two bands that played on the show were Flatland and Shane when Cody Johnson headlined it. Like we had Cody Canada and Wade Bowen on that show too, like just badass. But, you know, like seeing those guys come through it, and, you know, they had this great record. You know, Ryan Beaver's a buddy, and, you know, I know he wrote with Coletto on some of it. And I was like, man, let's just do something cool for these guys. You know, we give them that, you know, we gave them custom cutting boards from Rosewood Block, you know, and, you know what catering was going to be like. We know we take care of bands, like, you know, no matter what the cost has been or like what we work out on trade or whatever, we know that that's going to be taken care of back there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we slept easy knowing that.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Well, I'm proud to know you. Thanks for being nice to me. And
thanks for being nice.
Glad we could do this.
Hell yeah.
So, I mean, I'm rooting for you, and I think we got.
So what's next for you?
For me, I'm just playing shows and
hell yeah,
talking into a microphone. You know,
we'll keep doing
same old, putting out music.
Yeah.
But like, it's funny you're a grunge guy. I didn't know that because like my last record was definitely rock and roll and had some grunge elements, and then my new music is like very grunge rock and roll inspired, but like all with like. It's like all cowboy shit though.
Yeah,
too, so
I like it.
Which is cool because most of the guys that I know in that world, like that's the type of music that they listen to. But there hasn't been anybody that's really tapped into it with like more of a cowboy aesthetic and that type of thing.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of coming in a little bit. You know, you got some bands. You know, Co kind of did it. You know, a little bit more like Blink 182 kind of style, that rock era they grew up in.
Yeah, and what's interesting about that style of music is a lot of people, it gets really heavy, or it's like the way that they remember it from like an actual recording and production standpoint is heavier than it actually was. Like when you go back and listen to some of those like Nirvana and Alice in Chains, Pearl Jam for sure, those records, like from a recording standpoint, it was more similar to like the way just like a normal band in a room, folk band would like record their thing.
Yeah.
And now it's like people use like all these stacked layered guitars and it's super slick and huge and it sounds more like Nickelback. And I'm like, no, that's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like a
more raw.
A Pearl Jam record is more similar to Led Zeppelin than Nickelback.
Absolutely.
Right?
For sure. Way more authentic.
Yeah. What it's like a band in a room. They're capturing a band in a room. So it's like trying to keep it really raw and a raw production, raw recording. So that's where I'm.
Yeah. You know, like I told you, my brother was 7 years older than me. So like, you know, kind of got, you know, brought up into that. And that's kind of what I fell in love with. And like when I first started kind of diving into this Texas country, red dirt kind of thing, you know, I gravitated more toward the music that had like the rock elements, you know, your Uncle Lucius, your Ragweed, you know, but then, you know, kind of started, you know, really getting into, I mean, William Clark Green was one of the first ones I really,
I love Will.
fell in love with. Tyler, Texas boy, you know, also. So funny story, he came in the station on an in-studio performance not long after Rose Queen came out.
Oh, wow.
And I hadn't been at the station long, and Buddy Logan, our Texas country DJ, comes around to all the offices. He goes, "Hey, we've got a guy coming in for an in-studio. I need y'all to come." I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "Because I don't think anybody else is going to show up, like any of the listeners that he invited." So a lot of our staff go in there, and like Will didn't know us from Adam. But the only one who showed up like outside the station was Will's mom. And we're sitting there watching him, and the first song he played was Rose Queen. And I didn't know who Will was. I knew he was from Tyler and all that. But his song Rose Queen is about Tyler, because Tyler's, you know, Rose capital of the world. You know, they got the Rose Queen every year. And he played that song. I was like, man, this guy's fucking good. And just like dove into that record and been a huge fan ever since, and, you know, became friends and got him on shows and, you know, all that. Like, Will's just a great fucking dude. One of the few independent festivals that's crushing it, and really glad to see what Cotton Fest is doing out there. But yeah, like back on the grunge thing, like my brother he just brought me into that. Like as he kind of evolved to the country music, Texas country thing, you know, in the mid 90s, you know, that's kind of the style that he gravitated toward too. And, you know, that's eventually how I got into it and finally caught up to what he had been yelling at me about for so many years. And, yeah, so I mean, like, you know, my brother, he died about 8 years ago, but like anything I listen to now, like if it's got that kind of that sad rock element to it.
Well, like
too,
Cross Canadian Ragweed,
yeah,
that had a very grunge sound.
Oh yeah, I mean the dude's kids' middle names are Vetter and Cobain.
Exactly.
You know, like
yeah.
Talked to Cody about that at our first festival, first Troubadour. I was like, dude, I love that. That's badass. You know, we were talking about. We both had tickets to Pearl Jam in Oklahoma City that got postponed during COVID, you know, and we got to go the next year, you know, finally. But yeah, so like, you know, finally, you know, I've seen Pearl Jam a bunch.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, eight times.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So it's my brother and I were supposed to go to Wrigley Field to see Pearl Jam in 2016, and didn't happen.
At Wrigley Field?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that would have been your like.
Well, yeah, so we were supposed to go for reasons outside of my control. We didn't go. And then my brother passed away in 2017, and then Pearl Jam came back to Wrigley Field in 2018.
Oh,
so I went.
Yeah.
Just best show I've ever seen. Like,
yeah,
you know, people ask me like, "What's your all-time favorite concert?" It's like Pearl Jam, Wrigley Field, 2018.
Yeah.
Especially
year after your brother died too.
Yeah.
I bet that was like that was probably emotional.
It was tough, man. Yeah, but it was cool. Like, you know, the encore, they played Yellow Ledbetter. First time I had seen them ever play Yellow Ledbetter before. My first Pearl Jam show I ever went to, I went with my brother to Jazz Fest in New Orleans.
You had never seen them. They wouldn't normally play Yellow Ledbetter?
Well, I mean, every set's different. So, I mean, you know, the Yellow Ledbetter is almost always in their it's always in their encore.
Okay,
so if it's not, you know, Rockin' in the Free World or some other ones, you know, they'll do Yellow Ledbetter. So, I mean, I've seen them. I think I've seen.
On a feel.
Yeah. Do you know the words? He doesn't.
Yeah.
I've seen them 9 times, and they probably played Yellow Ledbetter like 4 out of those 9 times.
Okay.
But so like, yeah, we see them at Wrigley Field. You know, great show. They played Just Breathe, which is on one of my arms, and was kind of a big part of the eulogy I had my brother was that song. And you know, the funny part was that my ex-wife and I were leaving Chicago. We were in an Uber on the way to the airport. And the last song to play on the radio before we got out of the Uber was Just Breathe. Crazy shit.
No kidding.
Yeah. Yeah, but seen them a lot since, man. Like, you know, they didn't play in Texas for a long time, but and when they did come back to Dallas, like in the early 2000s, my mom would let me go with my brother. But seen them in Madison Square Garden, you know, saw them at Wrigley Field. You know, strangely enough, a couple of years ago, they did 4 shows in 1 week in Texas. They did 2 in Fort Worth and 2 in Austin. Went to all 4, you know, so that shit doesn't come around very often. So when it's Pearl Jam,
I can't remember the name of the song. My favorite one, because I'm doing a cover EP of some like 90s alt rock grunge tunes. I'm going to do like 4 or 5 and do like an acoustic EP. And I want to do a Pearl Jam one. My favorite one though has always been the waiting, watching the clock. It's 4 o'clock. But I can't find the right one to do.
You can always do. Well, my all-time favorite Pearl Jam song is Release, and that's what's on that arm.
That'd be cool.
I've never seen them play it live. They've never played it at shows I've been to, so I'm 0 for 9. But Yeah, that's a.
I'm gonna do Santa Monica,
Oh
the
yeah,
Everclear
yeah.
tune,
Yeah.
and then I don't know if it's technically grunge, but there was like that one-off band that did the "I smell sexy and
Oh, Marcy
candy
Playground.
here."
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna do
I don't
that
want to call
one.
it grunge, but definitely like that mid to late '90s.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
middle school years for me. Uh, look at "Given to Fly" for Pearl Jam
Okay,
off Yield,
I will.
1998. Yeah, I listen to "Given to Fly" almost every day just for personal reasons. But
Okay,
yeah,
might have to do it.
it's got some big notes in there, but I think you got it. I think you crush
Maybe.
it. I mean, if you know the words, that's a good start because Eddie doesn't know the words half the time to a lot of his
Yeah.
songs.
What do you
So,
really have to know the words if it's an Eddie Vedder song?
not really.
I mean,
If you want to ruin Yellow Ledbetter for yourself,
is know the words.
well, if you want to ruin it forever, just look at the misheard lyrics video on YouTube, and you will never listen to that song.
It's just
the
a bunch
same.
of R's.
It's no, it's fucking hilarious. Like just like they're like substitute. They put like pictures and words. This video's been on YouTube for like 15 years. It's like
it's just like
it's
wrong.
like the part where he says like "make me cry." It's like "make me fries," and it just like shows fries. Like the part where like Anna Nicole Smith and like on a whale, like shows you a whale. Like it will ruin the song for you, but it's hilarious. Like the first time I showed my brother that song, we like just died laughing.
Yeah.
Like, but it, yeah, it's worth ruining. I think you'll still love.
It's
the
worth
song.
ruining.
Yeah, you'll still love the song, but if you ever listen to it, that's definitely what you're going to think about.
I get it.
Yeah, but
what was the name of the song again? That you suggested?
Oh, Release.
No, what was the other one?
Oh, Given to Fly.
Given to Fly.
Yeah, that's a great one. It's upbeat too. It's like a happy.
I probably
song.
know it. I just don't know that title.
Yeah.
Given to Fly.
Yeah.
Okay. I will.
I'm not going to sing it for you, but
no, I know.
It came out on Yield in like 98.
I was fishing.
Yeah. It's kind of like it's kind of the fuck the haters kind of song. It's
I do. So like next door, there's a cigar bar. He's a buddy of ours. He and like one of my favorite things to do is like when somebody talks about like a really well known song, I'm like, wait, what? What is it?
Just have them.
And you can get them, and they're like, "What are you talking about? You don't know Amarillo by Morning?" I'm like, "What is it?"
Yeah.
So we were sitting over there one day, and was it Journey, Micah?
Oh yeah.
Oh, it was "Don't Stop Believing," and he was like, like "Don't Stop Believing." I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "The Journey song," and I'm like, "What Journey song?" And so like I like kept doing it to him, and then finally he's like, "Don't stop believing," like get him, and I'm like, I don't like get him to sing the whole chorus.
Yeah,
and so then
don't have it.
By the end of the chorus, I just sit back in my chair and I just like. And he's like, "You son of a bitch. You got me to sing that whole chorus."
My wife is a huge Bon Jovi fan. I wonder if I could do that to her.
It's a fun bit.
Yeah, just to make her mad.
Maybe not with your wife, but
probably she'd probably murder me. Yeah. We're going to see Bon Jovi in Madison Square Garden in July.
That's insane.
Yeah, the ticket prices were really fucking insane. Like, I'm like, this is nuts.
Do that. Come on, just throw a festy with like Bon Jovi and Pearl Jam.
Yeah, absolutely. People are like, why don't you get my favorite was, after 2023 when we had like a down year and that other festival happened, going into the next year. Everybody's like, why don't you get Zach Bryan? Just get Zach Bryan.
Just get Zach Bryan.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, man, absolutely. Let me pull $2 million out of my ass and get this done.
That's like when you talk to the distant aunt at the family reunion and she's like, "Well, I don't understand why you don't just take your CD down to like one of the record labels and give them your CD."
Yeah, they'll play you on the radio right then.
Then they'll play you on the radio.
Get your record deal.
And then I know
you've done the hard part.
Tina volunteers at the county fair, and then you could go play the fair.
Absolutely, yeah.
Why did I not think of that?
Yeah, like we would, we just do like some of the generic like posts, like who do you want to see at Troubadour Festival next year? It's like 7 people are like George Strait,
George Strait, Taylor Swift.
Like, all right, cool. And we'll be like, just for comparison, like we sell like 7,000 tickets, and George just sold 112,000 at Kyle Field and College Station. But yeah, man, absolutely.
It's the same people interacting with like AI artist posts on Facebook. So,
and it's fine. Like, and it's so much of it. Like, you can't like hold them against. What's the fucking phrase I'm trying to think of?
Hold them up against.
Hold it against them. Yeah, I give up. You can't blame them for it because like they don't know, and it's not their job to know. And it's like,
well, those are ridiculous.
Yeah, well, it's like I'll take this for example. So like our Celina show last year, 2025, and I know you were trying to wrap it up. But I'll just do one more story.
Honestly, I was looking at. She's looking at her dreaming.
Oh man, ours like he'll start running in his. Yeah. but, and like these people don't know, and you can't wrong them for it or hate them for it. One, they don't know how much these things cost. They don't know that our electric bill is $50,000 at one of these shows. They don't know that tents and tables and all that from that company, is $86,000. They don't know that your just in case a tornado comes policy is $35,000. And, all these, your shitters are $25,000 and your really nice shitters for your VIPs are another $20,000. So like it just, not factoring in production. And then you get into like what the artist costs. But, 2025 was undoubtedly like, well, for Celina for sure, like our College Station show, thought we booked a great lineup. It just didn't sell like we wanted to and didn't make any money. But yeah, going back to Celina, like looking back, we should have just said like, you know what, we're not going to do it because something in the universe does not want us to book a headliner for this show. I don't have like the exact count of number of headliners I offered. It was somewhere around 11 to 15 or something like that before we finally landed on one. And, it just didn't hit like we wanted it to. And, we offered our very first headliner. So for October 2025, in which later we eventually even changed the date to try to accommodate more. But in June of 2024, we submitted our first headlining offer for October of 2025.
Yeah.
So 4 months before our 2024 festival would even happen, we submitted and, the agent said like, hey, we're gonna have to sit on this for a while. This band's skyrocketing, but we'll get something going. And then, they passed. And then over that, over the next, 9-10 months, just kept offering and just kept missing, just wasn't happening. And finally, one of those where we tried to book somebody that like, hey, they're great. I love them, but I don't think this is gonna sell what we wanted. And over the course of that time, we can't tell people that, okay, you didn't like the lineup we had this year, which I still enjoyed it and it was good. It just didn't sell like we wanted to. But it's like, the same way they don't know that all those expenses are that much or that they exist, they don't know that band I offered in June of 2024 was the Red Clay Strays a month after they played for us in College Station. They don't know that we offered, a bunch of other artists, Ty Myers, Hudson Westbrook, Ella Langley, all these artists, Zach Top a few times trying to get him on it, to knowing that if one of those artists had confirmed, 2025 would have been an entirely different story.
Man,
and we probably wouldn't be sitting here talking about Troubadour being on a hiatus.
You definitely wouldn't be talking to me,
Yeah. I'd be talking to you, but it wouldn't be about us being on a hiatus. It would be like, yeah, what's next? Like, man, you've gotten all these guys in your shows and somehow you got, whether it be like the Red Clay Strays or Ella Langley or whatever to headline Troubadour and Celina in 2025 because we caught them at the right moment to get on our show. But that's the situation we've been in for the last, however many years, is that we've got to catch them right here before they get here, like,
and then hope by the time the show comes around, they didn't go like that.
Yeah. That they're even higher up. Yeah. And we've, I look back at some of our lineups and, openers or close to openers, in 2023, Braxton Keith played side stage for us in College Station. The opener on our main stage was Treaty Oak Revival. The next year, the Red Clay Strays played second on our main stage. The year after that, Hudson Westbrook opened the main stage.
Dude, isn't that crazy? That's just like investing too.
Yeah.
Like you can be right, but the timing's wrong.
Yep.
And like,
yeah, I mean, a good buddy of mine, Chris Thomas, who's worked in the industry a while, he works really closely with William Clark Green on Cotton Fest, and he's worked
and then he does like Born and Raised or something. Or
does Born and Raised, does stuff with that.
I was just texting with him like last week.
Yeah, okay. He's worked for AG, Peachtree, like all the big dogs. He's a buddy, and like we talk all the time, or talk quite frequently about it. And he always says like, yeah, it's legalized gambling is all this is.
Yeah,
and it really is. And my business partner he loves to play craps.
He loves to gamble.
he loves craps, and he's like, dude, I think we've got better odds playing craps than we do throwing a fucking music festival at this point. And he's probably right, but it's like I can point to all these times to where we've had these artists, and on our lineup. So like we know who they are. We know who we're trying to get. You know, when you're trying to get in these headlining slots, you know, which your direct support and headliner is what's selling your tickets. Your headliner is what getting, you know, asses in seats or asses on grass, however you want to look at it. You know, I know out of the course of all those offers, if we had the Strays or if we had Zach Top or Ella Langley or Ty Myers or whoever among these artists that we booked had one of those confirmed, and nothing against Clay Walker, he was phenomenal. He did a great job, and he was one of the nicest human beings I've ever been around. But like it just didn't hit, you know, the same way in this viral nature of the industry that we're in. You know that, but had we had one of those, you know, I don't think Troubadour would be on a hiatus right now.
Yeah.
You know, it's
It'll come back.
yeah. I mean, I hope so. We're for sale. Just kidding. Well, maybe not. I don't know. Everybody's got a number, I guess. $50. Yeah. But you know, it's just the hope that it is, and you know, I think that we would navigate, you know, the industry a little differently, or you know, find some other partners in it who would want to, you know, kind of go in on the risk with us or whatever. But you know, we look at it as like, dude, we're two kids from Bullard, Texas, and you know, we've done a lot, and we did something cool.
Yeah.
With this festival, and we did 11 of them. Some went well, some went really well, some not so great. But like, you know, I have no regrets.
Yeah. Live to fight another day.
Yeah. So if it, you know, if I get to stay in this industry and I get to, you know, work with artists that, you know, I love to see, you know, live music is what feeds my passion. And if I get to work in it in some capacity, whether it's on the artist side or the booking side or whatever side, you know, comes up, you know, I'll enjoy it for sure.
Yeah. Well,
and if not, I'll just buy tickets to the shows and go.
Yeah. I appreciate your directness and honesty.
Yeah. You'll get that with me
being
for
willing
sure.
to share it.
Yeah.
It was cool to hear your actual story.
Yeah. Thanks.
And where
man.
it came from. And thanks for making the trip. We're homies now.
Yeah, absolutely, bro.
You can't shake me now.
Text me anytime.
Now you're gonna be like, oh god,
I don't have a job right now, so I'm free.
Yeah, I'm
bro.
totally free.
I'm free. We can
You
talk
can
about
babysit my corgi.
Dude, do not. I am taking a picture of her before I leave, so I can send it to my wife because she's like, "Can we get another corgi?" He's like, "Absolutely not." Like,
Until you hang out with this one.
I mean, I could take Booger home. Like, she'd be great, but like my corgi's name was Monster, and
He was a monster.
he was something.
Yeah.
Like they are true assholes,
Yeah.
but he was a great dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
All right. Well,
cool, brother. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thanks for being here. See y'all.
And congrats on album of the year,
Bro, that's crazy.
That's awesome.
That's a pinch me.
Parker was in Tyler today, I believe, or today, picking up a guitar from a music store.
Oh,
there.
really?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. For instance, like, hey, Parker was at Monk Music in Tyler.
He's a good egg, man.
Oh,
and
dude.
he tries to help people.
Yeah.
And he's like a
his speech was
perfect.
primo.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. In 2019, we did when I was at Town Square, we did a hometown music festival for Co Wetzel's incredible music festival.
That's right.
Yeah. One of the names I'm proud of that I thought of, but like we kind of became homies that year, and you know, Co wanted to do this show, and we actually went to them about it, but it was a lot of fun. We were going to do it again the next year, but you know, COVID. But we had Co and Parker on that show, which was my cousin opened. JB and the Moonshine Band played on it because Co wanted them to play. I wish they don't really do shows anymore, but yeah, 7,000 tickets, like, you know, out the gate for that thing. But having Co and Parker on that stage, I'm standing side stage, and Parker walks out to sing Love with Co, and you got 7,000 just hammered people out there, you know, just sing as loud as I can. Like, and then we had, you know, booked Parker on Red Dirt after that. Like, it's really cool to see. It's really cool to see what these guys have launched themselves into, for sure.
Yeah, and they still know where they came from.
Oh yeah, yeah. And
like stuff changes, and like, I mean, their lives are pure chaos.
Yeah. Well, we're in a time now, you know, where, you know, 20, 25, 30 years ago, you know, people giving Pat Green shit for selling out or whatever the hell that means. I'm sorry that bettering my situation and, you know, benefiting my family is selling out. But
those are the types of guys, like Randy Rogers, same way. Like those are the types of guys that kick down the door.
Yeah.
So that, like, and now people don't really even talk about it.
Yeah, they don't. There's no door wall there anymore. You know, what you need to get is coming through your speakers. Like if you still feel that you know, that sound and that authentic nature you're used to hearing from, you know, Randy Rogers or Parker McCollum or Co Wetzel or whoever that may be. It's like, you know, Cody Johnson. Cody Johnson has not changed in 15 years. He's just a lot more popular now, you know.
Yeah, your
Like,
perception of him has changed.
yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, like he headlined, you know, Red Dirt in 2017, and I wouldn't. I mean, to me, like he would perform and act and all those things just as well then as he does now. It's just on a totally different, you know, playing field. But I can always say I booked him for less than any other headliner.
Yeah.
We just won't get into the other ones I swung and missed on.
Sing